Welcome to the Red Life Special, a slow burn for your soul. Real voice notes, real feelings, real healing. I am Elaine Renee. Let's get into it. This episode is called I Was NaZiyah Harris. This is a recording I did back in January of this year. I was reflecting on the story of the 13-year-old girl who went missing in Detroit. And it all came out that her 42-year-old uncle-in-law was having sex with her. I, too, was a teen involved with a grown man. This is my story. A story of statutory rape, wanting to be seen, teenage pregnancy, and secrets. Enjoy the recording. What's up? It's Elaine Renee with the Red Life Special podcast. And I want to do a check-in. How you feeling? Mental health check. How you feeling? Me? How am I feeling? I am feeling, let me get my cold wheel out. Maybe victimized, appalled, hesitant to tell my story. I was on TikTok, and what's the young lady, the 13-year-old, her name is NaZiyah Harris. People were talking about that, and it just made me want to reflect on my situation. Her story is a little similar to mine. Unfortunately, she don't get to write the rest of her story. May she rest in peace. The reason why I use the word victimized as how I'm feeling is because reflecting on this story just on my story, reflecting on my story against her story just made me realize I was a victim of pedophilia. But I'm just gonna dive into it. Quit beating around the bush. When I was younger, just to give you a little bit of backstory, my grandmother raised me till I was about 5. Then me and my grandmother passed. Me and my mom kind of went from door to door for about a year. My mom, she was in the streets. I ended up having to live with somebody else. Then from there, I went to a children's home. 1996, my mom came and got me out of the children's home. By that time, I'm 14 years old. I'm living with my mom in the West End, Atlanta, Georgia. Those of you from Atlanta, you familiar with the West End. And we living in this rooming house. My mom was renting a room. And I met this man. Clearly, he was an older man. I'm not going to sit here and act like I didn't fucking know how old he was or none of that. But I met this man, this grown man, and I was vulnerable. My mom wasn't really hands-on. She was still doing her thing. She was at work, or she was, living her best life, doing her thing in the streets, whatever. And so I was kind of left out there to, do my own thing. And I met this man. He lived 2 houses down from us. And, of course, he showed me attention and interest. I was eating that shit up. Like, hey, somebody's paying attention to me. So, he filled a void of wanting to be wanted and loved. And so I started seeing this man, and I would sneak over to his house. I was having sex with him. Oh, and I just thought that he just really fucked with me because he bought me a pager, honey. What? Over the course of the time me dealing with him, he might have bought me 2 pagers, but I remember one pager. It was a small, translucent purple pager. And you was the shit. You had a pager back then. Well, I was 14 with a pager. Well, you couldn't tell me nothing. And he would text me, and I would go up to the corner store and I would call him, or him paging me a certain code. We would meet at the laundromat on the corner. Funny thing is, that laundromat is now the original, very first Slutty Vegan location. But it used to be an old raggedy ass laundromat. And he might text me a code, and I knew that code was, hey, meet me at the laundromat. Just real sneaky ass shit. And, yeah. But at the age of 14, I was sleeping with a grown man. And at the time, I didn't know how old he was. And I think I finally asked him, and he told me he was 29, and I believed him. Hell, I was all in by then, so it was just like, fuck it. Like I'm really going to stop messing with a man who is giving me attention. Now that I know that he's 29. No, that ain't how that went. And so, it was so long ago. It was like I said, 96. So I don't know. I don't think I was dealing with him too long. Funny story. I remember at some point reconnecting with a ex-boyfriend that I met over my cousin's house in Four Seasons. And I had met up with him at Lenox Mall, and he came back to the rooming house, and I don't know where the older man that I was dealing with was at. But I remember, me and my ex-boyfriend, we kind of went up to the room, and we didn't have sex or nothing, but a lot of hunching and shit like that or whatever. And so it was time for him to leave, and I walked him back up to the bus stop for him to get on the bus, and bam, there I see the old man I'm dealing with. And like, this nigga jealous and mad, like, who the fuck is this, that, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. That was funny. Didn't nothing transpire or nothing like that. Dude got on the bus and went on his way. Dude was mad at me because he was like, yo, you put me in a fucked up position. But I never looked at the older gentleman as my man. Like, it wasn't, oh, this my boyfriend, this my man. It was just like somebody I was dealing with. So in my head, I had free reign to deal with whoever. Like, you ain't my nigga. Like, I'm fucking with you. And I met up with my ex. We just kick it. Like, I ain't fuck him or nothing. But like I said, anywho, I ended up getting pregnant. And when I got pregnant, me and my baby daddy decided that we wasn't going to tell my mom who I was pregnant by. Of course, like I said, he lived 2 doors down. Plus, he was a neighborhood drug dealer, so it was like, oh, I can't risk telling who you are because people in the neighborhood already know you, so we just gonna keep a hush-hush. So for the longest time, I would lie to my mom and told my mom I met some random ass nigga at the fucking at the mall, and I just had sex with this random dude and got pregnant. And after a while, I told my baby dad, I was like, yo, I can't keep lying to my mama like this. Like, I'ma tell her, because I can't keep lying to my mama like this. And so, I remember him one day crying to me, begging me, don't tell her. And I was like, I can't keep lying to my mama. So I told her. And of course, she had a fit. And she had a fit because A, she knew dude. B, they were cool and they shared the commonality that they both were from California, so they was cool just because of that alone. And then come to find out, I remember my mama, when I did tell my mama, I remember her saying to him, "Wow, I asked you to be looking out for my daughter and you out here fucking her." I remember my mom saying that shit like it was yesterday. And so that was a shit. That was a shit show. Mm, friend of my mom's had a friend who was a lawyer, and so I think by this time I had Deja. I had Deja in '97, October '97. Now I'm 15. I got pregnant at 14, and I had a baby at 15. And I remember going to the lawyer to get her to help me to get child support. And when I told her how old my baby daddy was, she was livid. And she was like, "Oh no, we gotta have him locked up. That's statutory rape." And I pleaded with her. I was like, "Please don't do that. Like, if you lock him up, then I can't get child support. I can't get no help for my daughter. Like, don't lock him up. Let's get this child support." So we did. She was able to get me child support. She wrote up the child support papers, and it was whenever he got a paycheck, his job would cut me a check. She made it to where I was guaranteed a check when he got a check. And I think I was getting like $66 every 2 weeks, or I think it was like $132 a month. And you know that motherfucker couldn't keep a job. Like, I couldn't even get the little $132 a month because he wouldn't stay on the job. But at some point, it came out that, I guess around the time when I told my mom who my baby daddy was, it came out that he wasn't 29. He was in fact older than 29. He was actually my mom's age, and at the time she was 34. So here you got this 34-year-old man preying on a vulnerable 14-year-old girl, and then he got me pregnant. So I started going to Carver High School. I picked to go to Carver for their business magnet program, and they also had a daycare on campus, so I could take my baby to school with me. And I remember by this time, I'm no longer dealing with my daughter's father. Like, that came to a halt. At this point, it's too much involved. People know that people in the neighborhood know he my baby daddy. His mama know about me. Like, his mama would get Deja on the weekends, and it was just, it was just too risky at that point to be dealing with him once everybody knew about it. So we stopped messing around or whatever, and I started going to high school, taking my baby to high school with me. And a part of the conditions of my daughter being in a daycare at the school was that I would have to stay after school for parenting classes, I think like maybe 2-3 times out of a week. And I remember this young girl, she was new to the program, new to the school, she had a baby, and they would take us home in a van after our little parenting classes. They would feed us snacks and stuff, and we would learn what we learned about being a parent. And then they would take us home. And I remember this young girl, she lived in the same neighborhood I lived in. She lived the next street over. I lived on East Ontario. She lived on West Ontario. And we was going to drop the girl off, and I saw my baby daddy's car. And the young girl said, "Oh, there go my boyfriend's car." And I was like, "Your boyfriend?" I'm like, "What's your boyfriend's name?" She said, "My baby daddy's name." And I just, to this day, it's like, damn, dude, like, you didn't learn your lesson fucking with me. You didn't learn your lesson fucking with me. You done start fucking with another young girl. Like, you dodged a bullet with me, and you ain't learn your lesson. You fucking with another young girl. that shit was crazy. But it took me later down in life. I guess, you're not really privy to the word pedophile, and I knew that it was wrong. I knew that it was wrong that I was dealing with an older man, but like I said, he scratched that itch of needing to be wanted and loved, even if it wasn't real love. He fulfilled the need that I needed. And it took me to go into Kennesaw State University to get my degree in criminal justice. I started KSU 2009, and I graduated in 2014. So somewhere in between there, maybe 2010, 2011, I took a class and we talked about pedophiles. And it helped me to realize that my child's father was a pedophile. He preyed on young girls and groomed them and had sex with them. And ain't no telling how many he got babies with. It's like, I don't know. Learning about pedophiles, they hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, damn, your baby daddy was a pedophile. Another interesting thing about this whole story was my mom confessed to me maybe 3-4 years ago. Mind you, as we speak today, I'm 42 years old. So in my late 30s, my mama confessed to me that her and my baby daddy had an agreement that she would not have him locked up as long as he gave her free drugs. So my mother was blackmailing him for drugs. I knew some shit. But I don't know. I just reflecting on that time of my life. It was 27 years ago, 27, 28 years. My daughter 27 now. But this whole NaZiayh, I don't know if I said her name right in the beginning, but this NaZiyah Harris case just really had me reflecting on that and just thinking about how allegedly it's possibility that the aunt knew and the grandmama. A lot of people kind of had a clue. And in my situation, in the beginning, nobody knew. But then, once it came out, it's like I was young. I was just looking at needing help to raise my daughter. But it probably looked, hindsight 2020, it probably would have been best that somebody had him locked up so he wouldn't prey on nobody else. Because the motherfucker started fucking with somebody after me like, you didn't learn your lesson. You didn't, but I guess you're not going to learn your lesson if you addicted to young girls. It's like being an addict and addicted to drugs. Like, you're not going to stop unless your ass in jail. So, anywho, I just was reflecting on that, and I could easily have been murdered. He could have easily be like, I don't want nobody to know that I done got this young girl pregnant. Let me kill her. Like, And so I'm thankful to be here to tell my story. And it's so sad that NaZiayh, she not here to tell her story. And there's so many of us. It's so many of us that have been pursued, groomed, and had sex, and had babies as teenagers with grown ass men. Like, it's a sick thing out here and it's running rapid. Protect these kids. And I can't speak on anybody else's community but the community that I was brought up in, and that's the Black community. We always want to talk about somebody's child being fast. Yeah, my point of view is I played a part in it. Like, he didn't rape me. He didn't force himself on me. I willingly snuck over his house. I willingly met up with him. And so I feel like, I played a part in it, but at the same time, I was a child. My brain was not fully developed. And this grown behind man saw a young girl who was kind of out here on her own because her mama was doing her thing. You know, he saw the vulnerability in me and he took advantage of it. And he groomed me. And he had sex with me. And he got me pregnant. But baby, I wouldn't trade that pregnancy for nothing in the world. Let me tell you, that little baby there, that was a blessing. That needed to happen. That baby needed to happen. That baby kept me on the straight and narrow. And it's brought me here to this day to share my story. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing that it's some foul ass. In my day, we had pagers, but had we had cell phones and the texting, you probably would have been able to find nasty texts where he texting me and shit. Like, you know, it was, you know, when we could get on the phone or when we could sneak in the laundromat, or I can wait till it's dark and then creep behind the back of the house next door and then walk down along the side of the house to get through his gate, and he hold the dogs back and I creep through the gate and access their house from the back because his room was in the back. And we having sex on a water bed and it's pitch black because he got black trash bags on the windows, and you know, we watching TV and we kicking it, you know, and that's what we did. We had sex and kicked it. And in my memory bag, I don't remember deep conversations, and you know, it was just lust. It was me feel like somebody motherfucking cared. But I just wanted to share that story. That was deep, heavy on me, knowing that this little girl went through the same thing. It's not just hers, plenty of them. Protect our girls. Our young girls, they supposed to be still playing with dolls and going to school and having friends and worried about hairdos and outfits. These young girls don't need to be out here having sex with these grown men. Is just taking these little girls' innocence. And it's just sick. It's just really sick. And I don't even know NaZiay's dad's story. Apparently the story with the guy who that was messing with NaZiayh, you know, was molested at the age of 3, and you know, I don't know what his story was, but at the end of the day, it's wrong. Protect our kids. Protect our young girls and the boys too. Boys are out here getting molested. They just don't have to walk around with babies, but they get molested too. They got to walk around with the trauma of their innocence taken away because some grown behind man is sick in the head and yeah. But I'm going to wrap this episode up. I would like to highlight my business, Dicks and Diamonds. It is a jewelry store and a adult novelty store. So, ladies, come get your dicks and your diamonds from Dicks and Diamonds. My website is www.dixxxanddiamonds.com. That's Dicks and Diamonds, www.dixxanddiamonds.com. Visit the website. I think you'll enjoy some nice adult novelty toys. And ladies, you know, we like to look good and put our accessories on. So find you a cute pair of earrings or a cute necklace to go with your robes, okay? Want to do another mental health check-in? How you feeling? Me, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good that I was able to share my story, and I hope that my story will be able to help somebody. Um, Even if it's just letting you know you're not alone, you're not the only one, or maybe to encourage you to tell your story. This page is all about spreading love through my personal life experiences and hopes to inspire you and to liberate me. But not only liberate me, but liberate you as well. I love you. Before I go, here's something I want you to hold on to. Say it with me. I forgive myself. I forgive my child's father, and I forgive my mother. I am enough. I am resilient. I am grateful.